Hi, welcome back to CETV. We're with Perth photographer, videographer Brett Earl. We got something pretty awesome to show you, but you'll just have to wait and check back in a moment. Hi everybody, welcome back to CETV. We did promise you something pretty awesome, so Brett, should we do it?
Should we unveil what we've been playing with for the last day? We have got the
brand new
Sony
A7S III. Probably the most anticipated camera, I reckon, of the last maybe year, 2 years.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting to get my hands on. I didn't actually believe I was going to have it for the night to play with. Saul and Howard gave me a call and said, "Hey, we've got a secret little mission for you to do."
Yeah, so this camera, I mean, I have probably had more calls about this camera than any other camera of the last 2 years. So, you know, A7S II has been an absolute game changer. The A7S was a game changer in the video world. So your thoughts on it, Brett?
It's all I can say is I sent a text to Howard after I finished shooting last night, and please bleep this out. I just said it's a f***ing beast. It is. I've been working with the A7 III for the last 6 or 8 months now, and it is just it's big brother, really. It's got. Yeah. I can't list off the specs because I wasn't given the specs at this stage. Yeah, so
more about your general feel.
Yeah, the general feel. Like it's got that good weight to it. It's got that good DSLR sort of heaviness to it. I was shooting with a bigger lens than this 24 to 70mm G series last night, so it had that real good heftiness to it. And I was shooting handheld. It was a little bit too heavy for my gimbal. That's okay.
I've noticed that it's actually quite chunkier.
Yeah,
than
I really wanted
to
just actually see how the inbuilt stabilizer was working.
Yeah,
just by hand, because I do shoot a lot of gimbal, but I also do shoot a lot of handheld stuff as well. So just sort of they're real getting in that real tight, those tight angles.
Yeah, I
and
spotted
like
some of your footage before. It's definitely really smooth.
Yeah, obviously we'll pop some up on the screen here as well. But
my first impression was the size of the grip. I mean, that's really good. You know, for the guys who have or ladies who have bigger hands, you know, this is perfect because, you know, traditionally mirrorless cameras are quite small, and I think camera companies have sort of learnt that, you know, if they're full frame, they can't be tiny, you know. Apart from the A7Siii, go check it out. We've got another video on the page. But, you know, this camera here is a good size, feels very comfy. I love this. It's probably the first one they've added it to. I could be wrong, but yeah, the articulated screen is awesome. The focus point toggle as well, they've really beefed that up a bit.
Yep, there's a few, like the shutter dials and things like that on the top are all separated now as well.
Really big record button on the top as well.
That's probably actually the only thing I had to get used to, was actually getting to that trigger here, where it's normally sort of in here, or you could, I'm sure I didn't actually set it, but you'll be able to set the shutter shutter button as well. But I actually pressed C1 a few times last night when I was trying to hit record, just out of habit on the A7 III.
Not much time to customise though.
No, I didn't really want to tweak too much to set it to sort of my specs, because I was obviously had it for a couple of hours.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, the viewfinder is, I think, 9 million.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
OLED
super clear.
Like, that's the one thing that's getting better and better with mirrorless cameras, you know. Viewfinder is something, electronic viewfinders are really hard for people to get used to, switching over to mirrorless, but, you know, this one here is really, really crisp.
Yeah.
Quick refresh rate.
Yeah.
A lot of resolution, so quite impressed. The other awesome thing, sorry to interrupt you, the dual card slot. So everyone who's watching this has probably read this, but each card slot takes 2 separate types of cards, so CFexpress Type A and your SD. So that's pretty impressive. So
yeah, I was only able to use an SD card last night because we didn't actually have one of the cards available to go.
Yeah, to be advised, they're coming.
Yeah. So, but I still got to shoot, you know, the 4K, and I still got to shoot 120 frames a second in the slow-mo, and really tried to stretch the ISO. All the footage. So let me explain. We went down to Hyde Park. We had a group of fire dancers who were we were lucky enough to be able to jump in and film a couple of guys doing their craft.
Yep.
I made sure that we pushed them away from the street lights down into a sort of a darker corner, so we could really test that ISO. And yeah, with the footage, it really just flamed. There was like a street light wasn't even facing us.
Yep.
Just that ambient night light, and the flames was really really amazed.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I mean, on paper, it's still the same 12 megapixel sensor, but obviously they've optimized it with a newer processor. So,
don't know what they've done, man, but it works.
Yeah,
it works.
Because the A7S and II, they were absolute beasts in low light. Like probably the best cameras I've ever used at higher ISOs, and just can't wait to fully see what this is capable of. Because keeping it below megapixel, I think, is great. A lot of people are sort of like, oh, it's too low, but 12 is enough, and it's primarily designed for video. So the fact that you can shoot crazy high ISOs and situations like you were in last night.
Yep.
Really clean footage. And
I'd be really excited to get one of the bigger cards in there to actually see, to push it really, and bring in a few other lighting sources as well, just to really play with it. I could definitely see, like, if I was a cinematographer, if that was sort of my, if that was my lane, this camera with the right lenses, and you could just, this would be the last camera you probably ever need to buy, I'd say. Yeah. You do outgrow a lot of these cameras as you sort of you pick them up and you go, right, I could probably use half of the technology in here, and I'll just grow out, and then I'll upgrade it. Like, I picked this up and went, I could probably have this for 5 years, and wouldn't even go close to probably using everything that's in it. So,
absolutely, yeah. It's got power to live on for quite a few years. The other thing as well, the biggest knock on the previous models was probably the battery. So they finally released an A7S with the bigger NPF Z100. So that's awesome. That's double the battery life of the previous model. So I think that's great. Like, that will really excite a few A7S II, A7S users, I think.
The autofocus I was really I didn't really have a lot of time to sort of sit and go through all the different types of autofocus, but it really did. Even in the low light, it was picking up the eyes, it was picking up face. It was switching in between. It's got the touch tracking option as well. Yeah, so that's great. Pop it on a piece of flame, and it will make sure it just tracks that and works beautifully. Yeah. Even we had some subjects walking towards the camera as well, and it was really, and they had their staffs and their dragon staffs and fire and stuff in front of them. It was doing a little bit of a, hey, let's trying to figure out what to focus on. That would have
been a good test, actually.
Yeah, it was. It was different. You've got different lighting sources at different brightnesses and things like that. So the camera, it was a real test for it.
Yeah. So I think it's about 15 stops dynamic range in video and 14 in stills. So I mean, that's great. That is amazing. I mean, that would make post-processing a hell of a lot easier. I did muck around with some of the picture profiles, some of the S-logs and different settings that are in there. Yeah. But I kept coming back to the basics. Yeah. The picture quality that comes out of this, just straight up with nothing, is clean. It's vibrant. Great. It's bright. It's nice. It's aesthetic. So someone that wants to just pick this up, they don't have the time to be processing log footage or...
Exactly right, because the time that you have to go into to grade everything, you've got different light sources that are different white balances as well. It can just be a nightmare if I was shooting that all night in S-Log, because there is a couple of bits of footage that I've got, and I nearly just scrapped it, going, God, this is too hard to recover. With this particular light, with the look that I wanted for this video, but it's got it all in there if that's what you want to do. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, well, thanks a lot, Brett. And really appreciate you testing out the camera for us and giving us your thoughts and views. And look forward to doing more in the future with Sony and yourself. So I'll take this one with me. Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate you tuning in. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys.